Guess what day it is? Huh? Anybody?
Topic Tuesday on Look Who's Ranting Now.
Yo, I love Topic Tuesday. Love Topic Tuesdays, and it's your host here, RT Stay Cologne, filling in for the great big feet. Filling in the big feet of...
don't do her. The great, phenomenal,
the great
lovely,
and phenomenal, of
beautiful.
Course. You know I gotta mess with it. You know what I'm saying? But it's big shoes to fill. You know what I'm saying?
Don't do that. See, there you go.
Big shoes to fill for your good comment. Shout out to her, enjoying her vacation. Well deserved.
And we love you and miss you. We keeping it
Sure
live
do.
for you. Can't wait for you to come back. But we want you to have fun.
No doubt. Listen, we do feel that. Yeah, there's an empty void right there.
You know,
what I'm saying?
it's not the same without her
It
here.
ain't the same without the, your good karma underscore. Get the introduction and all that stuff, feel all special, but I still feel great because sitting right diagonally from me, across from where your good karma would normally be, like a bug, our TikTok extraordinaire. How you doing? Glad to have you in studio. And of course, our amazing producer, Mr. Boom, is down there with us virtually. And we got Chayo there listening. So
What's up, Chayo?
Yeah. So we got the crew. We got the crewski here. Yeah, definitely. So tonight's topic is about, should the punishment fit or exceed the crime? Mm-hmm. And where this came about is me and a friend of mine, Razman, who should be joining us here shortly. We go back and forth about crime and the law and punishment. He's for, which I'll let him explain, like going back to draconian measures as far as steal, take a pinky. You know what I'm saying? Do it again, take a hand. Me, I would like to see punishment lean on the side of exceed the crime so it can be a deterrent of sorts, but I want to see longer sentences with no early release. So I'm of that nature. Okay. But we go back and forth about this, but what truly started this, our debates and going back and forth, is the amount of heinous acts that have been committed just in 2022. That Memphis shooter that went around shooting random people on live like he's playing GTA or something, like it's a game.
That's ridiculous.
With people's lives.
Real lives he is taking.
Real lives. It's wild. We had the Buffalo shooter. Mm-hmm. That was this year, right?
I believe so.
The Buffalo shooter that was at the grocery store targeting black people?
Yeah, that was his year.
You know what I'm saying? With N words on his pistol, mm-hmm. or AR or whatnot. We've had so many crazy mass murders. Uvalde, with the kids.
Yes.
Was that this year or last?
Is that okay? You're gonna have to refresh.
Uvalde, that's with the kids out in Texas.
I think that was this year.
That was this year too?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
A lot of crazy and senseless acts of just crazy violence. Here in Nashville, crime has gone through the roof. Mm-hmm.
Well, because we're getting more and more people here every
year.
Day.
People are starving. I don't know if people are bored.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it is, but crime is through the roof. We got the Kia Boys. That's the thing that's popping. Where that's up in Detroit, if I'm not mistaken. The Kia Boys being up there stealing people's Kias and Hyundais and making videos about it and stuff like that.
I heard about that. Okay.
Yeah, they just taking people's cars, acting wild and all kind of stuff, all kind of crazy stuff, right? So because of these acts, what's going on? Just say.
Oh, do you have like an incense going on in here?
I think so.
Oh,
yeah.
Eyes. It's burning my eyes.
Oh, got you.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. You're fine.
Smell good to me. It's like vanilla and tobacco or something like that, ain't it?
Yeah, it's something like in the front. Yeah, that's just the scent thing in the front of the house. But what was I saying?
I'm sorry.
I'm all throwing. No, it's all cool. It's all cool. Just text me next.
Okay.
So we were talking about the Uvalde and all the different crazy crimes that have happened, right, over this year. Mm-hmm. That sparks the debates between me and this person right here, Razman, who's joining us. Thanks for joining. No doubt. Man, glad to have you here, man.
Me glad to be here.
I'm glad you are, no doubt. Listen, the debates, we can hear all that.
Right.
The debates the debates we have, the back and forth we have, about how you feel about crime and about how you're more on the draconian side saying, hey, to deter crime, you might want to take a pinky or a piece. You know what I'm saying? Or possibly chop a extremity off if you're out here committing sexual assault. Mm-hmm. That type of thing. So that's where this came about. So I'll kick things off here.
The problems.
It will solve some problems. I'll give you that. Some. Kick things off here with with the first question. How would you, if you were elected president, how would you deter criminal behavior? What would be the thing you use to deter criminals from committing these crimes?
I would take crime very, very serious. So for one, all this some of the nonsensical laws, stuff like that, we'd probably just more so fine you for certain things, like the things that don't really matter that much, or things that especially like nonviolent, like drugs and stuff like that. A lot of that's going to be a fine. A lot of that's going to be not necessarily a slap on the wrist, but we're not going to waste a lot of resources policing these things. And what we are going to police is anything violent, anything that deals with theft, anything that's going to cause somebody else basically not be able to live their lives, to the fullest, not to have all their rights. So when you do that, we coming for you, and we're not going to play no games. It don't have to be no big. Listen, they need to cut all this long sentencing stuff out. Sentencing shouldn't be that long. Just be honest with you. But
that's an interesting take.
Yeah, sentence shouldn't be that long. Now, what you should do is get to the nitty gritty.
So if you were president, mm-hmm. what laws would you propose and try to pass?
Listen, if you're stealing, we're gonna start with the tip of your pinky.
For how much? How much?
Oh, listen, that's 500 and below.
500 and below. Yeah. Tip of the pinky.
Tip of the pinky.
All right.
Yeah. 500 and below. If you steal tip of my pinky.
Tip of your motherfucking pinky.
But what?
Tip of your pinky. And I bet. Listen, you'll stop. You won't take nothing else. It's going to deter a lot more people taking the top of your pinky than it will, just giving you a little court date and a little what they give them. They give them a little court date,
community service, and
if that, what I'm saying. A lot of times they're going to let you go on time served or whatever that little stuff.
Don't do it again.
Little probation, little probation, and you good. And listen, what's so funny is they get caught stealing, get out on pretrial, and go steal again. It
has been done.
Just listen. All we got to do just bring the tape in. Let's see the evidence. Oh, you stole it, huh? All right, bring her hand here. Tip of the pinky. Bandage her up, send her on her way. Be like, all right, and don't do it again.
All right.
When you come back, we're going to take some more of that pinky. Listen, you get caught stealing 3 times, we'll chop a hand, baby.
Hey.
Yeah, chop a hand. A whole hand. Eventually, you ain't going to have the hands to steal.
Listen, I have to give you 100% credit on the fact that, listen, that's effective. Something tells me you ain't going to be with that, man, I don't care, take me to jail type attitude.
I don't know.
When they're taking you there to take a tip of your pinky. Put your hand on the table, chop. I just feel like you probably won't do it again. But you got it.
That's effective, but that is such a negative way. That's pretty much a dictatorship. Like, you might as well just go to one of these other countries if that's how you feel, and just have them take off a tip of your finger just for looking at somebody the wrong way. I mean, if that's the kind of.
But it's not for that. It's for stealing. And for those who don't steal, your pinky should be safe.
Intact.
For those who do, you'll be missing the tip.
That's very extreme for stealing something that was manufactured. And all this currency is just made up anyway. So not only was I born into a world where currency is all made up, but now because I don't really believe in the system, I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to just take what's mine because really we should just be doing trade and barter anyway. But since I got to do money and I got to do all this, I'm going to just take this. Because, I mean, it only cost you like 25 cents to make it, but you're selling it to me for $50. If I decide to take it, I'm going to get a tip of my pinky gone.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing. That thought process, though, while I agree it is draconian, it's back in the day. Some would say Middle Eastern because we've heard myths and legends. I don't know if that's true or not, but I've always heard that about the Middle East.
I just say
They
other
tend to
countries
handle
that still have it.
stuff like that. I'm just, keeping it 1,000
Okay.
as far as what I've heard. Now, I hope I don't get Kanye'd for this, but, yeah, while it is draconian to cut off a tip of a pinky
Dark Ages.
for stealing, $500 or less, what I will say is that process, that soft treatment to, hey, it only costs you this much or whatever, is why you can't leave your bike outside. It's why you got to lock up everything of value. It's why we got to have insurance on our insurance, because people feel like, hey, it's just this. And then when they get in front of the judge, then it's just 3 to 6 months. Then it's just prisons are overcrowded or jails are overcrowded. We're going to let you off with some community service. And when they get done with your call, they come to mine.
Most
then they go to
shoplifting
his.
under $500, there's no jail time.
It's no jail time.
You can do it multiple times. This is why Walgreens policy and all this, and these stores policy isn't. Walgreens policy. If you don't know, if you're a thief, just know this: you can take it and just walk out. They will not stop you. They won't even try to stop you. They might call the cops, but they're not going to get in your way because they have more to lose trying to stop you than they have to gain.
How does that deter crime?
So
you see what I'm saying?
And in the world that you're describing, like a bug, which is nice and great, and,
bubbly.
really bubbly, really
like
soft on all of us.
You know what I'm saying? Like
That's the
she's
same-
real nice and bubbly.
That's the same world that you got to worry about wearing something too nice somewhere and being shot in your face for it.
Or too thick a chain, too much stuff you have on. People will take it because the consequence of doing so, like, they so bold now. People commit crimes on live social media accounts. They're not
No
even
mask.
afraid to hide their face.
No
Now,
mask.
I just
hold
seen a
on.
video of a couple of guys who robbed somebody of their chain and say, hey, if you want it back, you can hit me up on at me or DM me or whatever. Really? We can do that as a society? You can steal and make a video of it? While $500 or less taking the tip of a pinky might seem excessive, you can still function. And you won't go back again if the next time is 2 fingers. I had a different approach, but I do want to hear from whoever wants to get in on this. Like a bug, I see you ready.
To me, that is bringing back such Old Testament vibes. I mean, if you tell a lie, cut your tongue, and things of that nature.
But people told the truth back then. But
Be a lot less lies told. boy.
I'm sorry. People told the truth back then.
But-
People didn't do a lot of things back then.
But how can we progress forward
Consequences back then.
how can you progress forward as a nation, as a world, if we're just going to continue taking steps backwards? If we're going to continue moving
I
backwards,
think
it
it was
didn't
all-
work during that time either.
Oh, it worked.
It did.
I think the steps forward is what messed us up, not the ones that's going back.
You're telling me medieval times, the Dark Ages, all that worked?
Not
For its time.
Yeah, not everything. They didn't have crime. Like they didn't have rampant crime like
Because
we
they had
now.
torture,
Yeah.
Smooth.
chambers.
Smooth. And that's another thing that leads me to my next policy
Yeah. That's what it was.
on murder. Listen, let's not lock murderers up forever. I say this: if you get convicted, you got 5 years to prove that conviction was wrong. If you can't prove it was wrong, firing squad, get rid of these niggas, man. What are you gonna do for us? Honestly, what is your contribution to society? All you're gonna do is cost us money. No, get rid of this mother sucker. Get rid of.
I wish
with.
you had said that statement a little later because I could segue into something, but you got it like about.
But why? What about the people who committed, I guess, certain acts of violence like murder in self-defense, or because they were fighting off an attacker who was trying to take advantage of them?
That's not murder. That's
not
called
murder.
self-defense.
But that person was still killed in the process, is it not?
But
And
that's
people
not
have been
considered murder.
people have been convicted for murder in self-defense.
I said you got 5 years to prove your innocence after your conviction.
And who's helping prove their innocence? Is there people that's under your payroll as a dictator, or like they actually get a
It's the
fair
same-
take at this?
It's the same
Or-
system we got now. You're trying to find
Like, it's
some
not a
hole in it.
kingship.
Yeah.
What I said is, if you were president,
That's a-
what type of laws would you propose to deter crime? What kind of laws would you put out there?
But those
I'm
kind of
saying
laws-
cutting a pinky for someone who has been convicted of stealing, not accused, convicted of stealing. While I do agree with you that is extreme, also, I feel like I can leave
Extremely
my
effective.
Listen, I feel like I can leave my stuff outside now, because you want to take this bike. It's worth the tip of your pinky.
You can
Cool.
see somebody
But
on your camera, on your dash cam or,
Yeah,
or
stealing.
whatever your camera is. See their face, know it's your neighbor, and nothing's gonna happen. To
and
them.
and you can't do nothing about it, except
I need to knock on your
oh,
door.
we got a hand raised
Get the
here,
pinky.
Mr. Boone. If you were president, what laws would you try to get passed so that you could deter crime?
I'm not sure, but I think the one with the pinky, cutting the pinky off, is a little bit extreme because
Thank you.
we've seen situations where people were convicted, and then the whole time they convicted, they sitting there fighting to prove their innocence, and then 2-3 years later, come to find out they didn't really do it. So that would kind of suck,
Would you rather have a tip of a pinky less? Would you rather have 9 2/3 of your fingers and be out? Because what he's saying is take that tip of the finger and then go back to living your life. No jail time. Would you take the 9 2/3 fingers or 3 years trying to prove your innocence? If you're somebody who's innocent of that crime.
Well, I feel like every system got loopholes, so that people gonna be out here with their fingers cut off left to right. Just like, hey, if I got more money than you, and I don't want to, get my finger cut off, I can just pay you to go out there and say you did it. You know what I'm saying? Then you're gonna have all these crackheads out here admitting to crimes they didn't commit just because.
But by the
somebody
third
pay 'em
time,
off.
you got to get a new crackhead, because by the third time you lose the hand. In Razman's system, pinky, tip of the pinky, hand. So by then, I don't know what, even the best crackheads, I don't know how much they can take with one hand or no hands. It's hard to steal that way.
Yeah,
Taking a
I
body
feel
part-
that. It's just a little extreme. I haven't had enough time to put enough thought into what would be a good way to deter crime from happening, but I don't think that would be the best way.
Mr. Boone, do you think the way we're doing it now is better?
Yes,
Oh,
but it's not working. So I
which
can't
one do you
speak
think will
on-
work then? Do you think if we took the pinkies, do you think it would work?
It's a wild question, but it's a legit one. If they took the pinkies, do you believe that would work?
I believe.
Yeah, I think so. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go
That's
ahead,
all I'm
Boom.
saying is I think so too.
I think it will work, but I'm just afraid of people getting away with it and somebody is taking the rat just because, somebody like bought them out or something like that. Or, somebody trying to prove they're innocent and then they don't have no good lawyers and now here they are without a hand. Like, there's no, going back. There's no way to become a better asset to society, you know what I'm saying? And then you out here walking with a little pinky, ain't nobody gonna hire you. They know you stealing, like, that's bad business.
Listen, I agree with Mr. Boom, but I bet you, 100%. I bet you nobody takes my argument over his, right? And I'm gonna let y'all be the judge. Because his thing was, you take the tip of the pinky, you're free to go.
Yeah, you go.
Free to go, right? Do you get any kind of record or anything like that?
Nah, you don't get no record. You just got the.
got the pink- tip of the
only
pinky.
record that you're gonna have is in the judicial system. They're gonna have to know, because they listen. If you lost a pinky in an accident, we don't want to think you on your third strike. You know what I'm saying?
Got you.
So it's gonna be that,
So
but no public records.
No public records.
Yeah, no public
All
records.
right. My system, what I would propose, if I was president.
Can I say what I would do
Yeah,
to the sex offenders?
Oh, yeah. Go ahead and drop it in there.
All right, cool.
Make them shake in their boots.
That's what we're gonna do to the sex offenders. We're just gonna chop it off. You ain't got to die. You just ain't gonna be able to use it no more.
hey, listen.
So this is why you probably would have become the president, because ain't nobody voted for that. I mean, I'm not. I know
is it that
it's
many
wrong.
child molesters out here?
No, but think about it. Like, you're coming up with some things that are like.
I'm coming up with
inhumane.
things. Listen, you can let your kids.
Thank you. It's inhumane.
I hear you. I
And
would
then
feel
what's
way
gonna
better
happen
about
is
my
all-
kids running in
open
the front
doors
yard.
to more stuff is gonna be inhumane, or whatever the word should be, and then we're gonna be in a bigger pile of poop. The way you're going with it.
I think that you guys are right. That it could open up the doors to more inhumane things. I just believe that I would feel way more safer in the world that I created than the one that we live in now.
Yeah,
I got a bunch of guns for the rules we got on the books now.
which I understand. Guns are all over the place because people do feel like crime is soft.
Crime is rampant.
And they want to give their own swift justice. I do understand what Boom is saying, that it opens the door to other things, to a complete draconian system. Mm-hmm. My case for if I was president, one of the laws I would try to get passed is mandatory sentences for crimes, right? Mm-hmm. You get that amount of time guaranteed. Mm-hmm. And while you think a tip of a pinky is excessive, right, for $500, I give you 5 years. Bet you won't do it no more. No early release, no nothing. Only exception being for juveniles, right?
There's a law out there now that relates to that one, where they're trying to give you a minimum of I think it's a life sentence or something like that. If you kill somebody,
I'm for that.
and
I'm for that. Minimum mandatory. But
the thing with that is that law is mainly going to apply to minorities.
Why
the
you
law
feel
will
that
be in
way?
place, everybody will vote for it, will pass, but it's not going to be reinforced in every case,
But these
So
are
you just gotta be
mandatory.
careful when you allow laws like that to pass.
I hear what you're saying. It's just a mandatory minimum, meaning it's for everyone who's convicted of that crime. So convicted is true, and the other,
Right.
Predominantly other races tend to have more access to capital and legal aid and things like
Pleading
that.
insanity and stuff like that.
Pleading
So it's like, so
insanity.
then
But here's what my other
my bad.
argument was before, and I'll just finish this up real quick. The other part of it is you come out with no record, stiffer penalties, no record. I feel like a lot of people are unable to rehabilitate or reacclimate to society because they have to wear this crime around for the rest of their life. How can you go back and be a normal, functioning, rehabilitated citizen when you got this on your record, this permanent record? Mm-hmm. No one wants to hire you because it's something you did in the past. So I would eliminate the record, stiffer penalty on the front end if you're convicted. But also, jury's got to be of your peers, meaning that at least half of the jury members need to be of your ethnicity, race or culture or creed. It can't be a jury system where 12 white people convict one black man or 12 black people convict one white person. It can't be like that. It's got to be mixed.
Can I say how I would?
Yeah.
If I was president, I would start to try to deconstruct the whole jail in general, because I think a lot of people when they get in jail, it's a society all on its own. So there's some people who are in there for years and they will do something just to go back because they don't know how to acclimate how the world is outside of that anymore. So I would just deconstruct that as a whole. And I know y'all gonna say this is fairy tale up in Malika's mind, but I would try to try to construct where our world or our nation, perhaps, people are doing things they love to do, so it doesn't feel like work. And then if everyone's doing things that they love to do, then everything will still coincide. You know, people will still have their duties that they're going to do because they enjoy doing it. And it wouldn't necessarily be, you know, you have to earn this amount to live in a raggedy little hotel out in New York just to make ends meet. It would be like, okay, you have this amount, you're going to pay what you can't afford so you can actually live where you're working at and things of that nature. Now, I know you're finna go into me about how capitalism matters and it ain't gonna happen like that.
Commie.
No, I'm not trying to say commie. I just want people to do things they enjoy to do.
Messing with you. I just know that somebody, whoever's listening to this on replay, as soon as you started talking about, and I want everybody to have commie. Listen, you finna get called that all kind of in the comments if this turns into a clip. Mm-hmm. I just feel like in your world, right? Mm-hmm. If I was a criminal, I'd love it.
But here's the thing, though.
Jail is gone.
These fools ain't even ready for me out here.
Just give
jail
me
may be gone, but solitude can still be a punishment.
Man, them dudes is
Right.
Do you know what hurts more than physical pain? Psychological pain. Solitude can affect someone long term, not just short term. And have to think twice about it.
As soon as I get out this month. As soon as I get out.
I'm only going to be here for 20 days. And I'm going to tell them I'm rehabilitated.
I didn't say it was going to be 20 days.
Soft don't cry. Whole softy over here. These ain't dogs that accidentally bit you.
Maybe all this crime is coming up because the end of days is coming and we're going to be in the paradise land, in the paradise world where all of this won't even matter anymore.
Listen, it could be, but listen, I'm going to tell you all this crime is coming up.
Till we get there.
Because they soft. Soft. Listen, because you can get away with it. It's and listen, in LA, and I get, they're trying to do these no cash bail bonds and stuff like that, trying to do all this stuff to equal the system up. And listen, I agree, and I think it's good, but you did it the wrong way. Instead of letting everybody out, keep them all in. You sit there and you think, oh well, you know, it's disturbing. You know, you're innocent until proven guilty. Guess what? Guess what, guys? How many of y'all really think it's a pandemic of innocent people being charged with a bunch of crimes out here?
Here's where I disagree with you.
No, let me finish my thought.
If there's just one person in there,
okay, cool. You just
living in a cell, sharing it with a dude, taking shits in taking a dump in public.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Taking showers with dudes. That's one too many if he don't belong there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Listen, I got arrested when I was 16 for something I did not do.
That's foul.
Yeah, man. But listen, I'm going to tell you something else. When I got down there, it just let me know I can't be hanging with these motherfuckers no more. You know what I'm saying? Because I was like, listen.
Sounds like you did do it.
No, I didn't. I did not do it. But listen.
Sound like an accomplice.
Nah, I didn't do anything. I didn't do that. But listen, it was a big dude in that mall beating on the wall, but like he ain't had nothing in there to be hitting on. He was using his fist. And I mean, and the way he was punching the wall, it sounded like he took another brick and was hitting the wall with it. It was like, oh man, he doing that with his body? And I was like, how old is this fool? You know what I'm saying?
Hey man, I want out of here, right?
Hey, listen, we was begging not to go in the cell. Oh, please don't put us in the cell with him, please. And listen, I'm not saying I didn't get arrested again after that. I'm saying I never really committed any crimes after that. But listen, the other thing is, man, listen, if an innocent person was to go down there, listen, not only would they want out, but it would deter them. Listen, that he gonna be good. Don't even worry about him no more. He gonna be good. Listen, he already seen what it's like down there. Nah, you don't want no parts of that. The only people that's good and that's good with being in jail is people that's down there with folks they know. Other than that, nah, you don't want to be there.
Hey, that leads me to my second question here. Do you believe criminality is able to be rehabilitated? And if so, how? How do you rehabilitate criminality? You know, me personally, and if anybody got their hands up, feel free to do so, and Like a Bug will get you connected here. I do personally believe that criminality can be rehabilitated, right? Mm-hmm. How I would do so is with that same mandatory sentence, right? But while you work there, the money is put up. Meaning that, let's say this 50 cents an hour, $1 an hour, whatever this underpayment is for the work you're doing, you know, you might get 30% that goes to your commissary, but 70% is held for you so that when we release you, you can rehabilitate to society. And you're not forced to go out there and steal or go back and do the same thing you was doing prior to get back on your feet. You know, so you're coming out. And while some will view that as, well, that ain't a punishment then. It is if you're working for $2 an hour, 6 to 8 hours a day, right? And all you get to use for commissary and Doritos and crunching up ramen and making all kind of prison pizzas with it and stuff like that, you only get 30% of that, of $2.
Whew.
And now 30%, that ain't even the whole 50 cents an hour.
Yeah, you still get three hots in the cot while you in the system.
Yeah, but you can't get a honey bun for free. You got to pay for that. It's somebody
You only
get
want the honey bun to show off.
sad to say this. Somebody's fighting right now over being owed 2 packs of cigarettes and a honey bun. You know, it's big time in there. You know, so to be able to come out, imagine somebody does a 5-year sentence, it can come out with maybe $16,000.
But you know the jail system's not like it used to be, you know.
And
Like
an education.
They got, man, listen, if you in the feds, they got TVs. They ain't supposed to have cell phones, but a lot of them got phones.
But that don't rehabilitate people.
No. It doesn't. I like because it seems like you put a little thought into it. I do like your ideals. Let me ask you a question. What about murder?
Listen, I said criminality, not savagery. Listen, even murder though, it depends on that. Murder is different. Mass murder, nah. I just think you're gone. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry. There's nothing you can do for us outside of work and build bridges and pave roads. You know what I'm saying? What they used to do to indentured slaves back then. No, you can go pave the roads for the rest of your life. You know what I'm saying? Or take the lethal injection, however you want to do it. But for somebody who is, you know, like a juvenile who was coaxed by somebody else, you know, that was part of a gang, you made a mistake, while it did cost someone's life, if they could get out at 45, you know, plus have something to, you know, rehabilitate with and having to give 30 or 50% of their money to the victim's family that they're earning.
What about, I think it would depend on how they act while they're in it. If they're still in the same nonsense while they're in there and they're not trying to, like, and I know in jail, of course, or in prison, that, you know, you have to defend yourself. You got to make sure they don't know that you know no punk or whatever. I get that part of it. But in terms, like, are they trying to, you know, help themselves in there? Are they reading? Are they attending classes or any courses? Like, are they trying to help themselves as well? Because if they're just still on it, I don't care, I'm coming over, then it's going to be like, do they really need the money? Because it sounds like they're just going to go back to it anyway.
I agree.
It should be a privilege earned.
Or some type of system where they're monitoring how they're progressing through that system. I agree with that because I know a lot of people. You know, I told you that I worked with a lot of guys that comes fresh out, murderers, big time drug guys. I worked with these guys, and listen, for very few of them wanted to do the straight and narrow. Very few. And those that just wanted to have peace, they were way older. These guys was close to damn near 60, you know, and they just, man, listen, I just want to get me a job and find me a girl and chill, you know. The rest of them, the ones that came out in their 30s, 40s, even early 50s, you know, it was this one dude named Jay. I ain't gonna say his name. But Jay he acted like a kid, and he went to jail for murder when he was, I think he was 19. So he come out, he was early 50s, and I mean he acted like, at the time I think I was like 27, 28. Dude acted like he was 22, and his partner told me, he said, yeah, I was in with him. He said, but you know, so when you go in, he said he said it's like life pauses. He was like, so you still age? He said, but life pauses. He said, so you come out kind of doing the same thing you was doing when you went in, and you could have, and like the dude, he just acted like a child. There was no the justice system now that we have. There's no rehabilitation in there.
There's no development. It's nothing.
It's just
punishment,
or just time. It's just time. They're just taking time from you. That's it. But so I agree. Listen, if we're not taking my system, I agree that there should be time and there should be rehabilitation. I think that was a bad thing and a negative thing when they took rehabilitation out of the prison system. I think that was terrible.
Big time mess up there.
But there is a the only problem I have with your plan. There is a high rate of people, getting out and doing the same thing. There's a high rate of people that go to jail, get these sentences, and get in trouble again.
Well, that's because they don't come out with nothing.
That's because they don't come out.
They don't come out with any family. Family has disowned them for the crimes that they committed, and rightfully so. Right?
But listen, I know guys that because these girls.
If it's hard for society to go get a place, imagine somebody who just got out of prison.
I know a girl that bought a car for this dude.
Nothing.
She bought a car. She bought him some chains, bought him some clothes, had him a spot to stay. You know what I'm saying? And put some money in his pocket. You know what I'm saying? All when he got out. And that fool took the car, had the phone, was out messing with all these other girls, getting in trouble again. You know what I'm saying? Got arrested, and she was just like, well, she did all that. And so some of it is about the person, man. The type of person that ends up going to jail and doing all these crimes is just a criminal. You know what I'm saying? And he get out, you're like, hey man, we did all this stuff to help rehabilitate you. The fool just a criminal. He just a thief. He just a murderer. He just a con man. It's just what he do. You know what I'm saying? He like doing it. You know what I'm saying?
I just know that he wasn't born that, right?
I don't agree with that.
You think murderers are born?
I think some of these dudes, he was riding when he was born, and riding when he was a kid, riding as a teenager, riding as a man. Some of these people just bad apples, man. I
just
truly
inherently.
Not like inherently. I just think some people are bad people, man. I truly believe that. I truly believe some people are bad people.
I believe people become bad people, but as far as like them just be like,
any liars?
Yeah,
nigga.
yeah.
This person gonna always lie, ain't it?
God, they gonna lie. They gonna lie.
You know what I'm saying? You can slap them on the wrist. They gonna get caught in all these web of lies.
I do.
Keep lying.
I do somewhat agree with Rasmus to the point that a lot of documentaries I see, like people who become abusers or violent, they had fetishes from when they were a kid, things that they enjoyed doing. They enjoyed like messing with animals and seeing them squirm. They enjoyed that stuff. Nobody introduced that. That's just stuff they went out their way to try, and they enjoyed it. They were interested in that. So I think it's not necessarily they were born that way, but they developed their own interests as they, get older. So I somewhat agree with what Rasmus is saying.
I just feel like that was
pedophiles and sex offenders, man. They get out. Listen, you chop that thing off, and they won't be able to do it again. You know what I'm saying? Either that, just be breathing on them or something, but at least they won't be violating them the same way.
He said just breathing on.
It's just some creeps out here, man. Some weirdos.
You funny.
Because why you do that in the first place? Why you messing with these old ladies at the nursing home and kids and homeless folks? Like that's so weird.
It is.
And you can say, oh, well, they need help. Yeah, chop it off too while you at it, and then talk to them about, why they shouldn't do things like that.
Oh God. Oh, okay. Got you. Thank you, Like-a-Bot. You're absolutely right. Absolutely right about that. Listen, I sex offender. I'm sorry. I just don't have the kind of remorse for them.
Not at
that,
all.
Some others have. Like, I just sexual assault and things like that. I have no issue with just letting them, whatever happens to them,
We could all drop them all off on an island, and then they can create their own country.
Nah, they be trying to come back, mess up our time. Nah.
Especially ones that have like children fetish. They just gonna get somebody pregnant, and I just don't even want to go down that rabbit hole. Like,
listen, I'm gonna tell
point.
you,
they can have their own island if we're gonna drop a nuke on it.
I'll tell you one thing for sure.
Bomb that thing.
I'll tell you one thing for sure. If a sex offender gets caught, he'll feel terrible that you know people know and stuff like that. Listen, he'll feel even worse if he thought they was gonna chop that thing off and he was like, you know what, it ain't worth it. You know what I'm saying? Because more than just being ostracized by society.
I'm glad I hate to be talking sexual offender talk because it is sensitive content.
We could say SA or SO.
SO about SOs. I've seen this debate on Twitter. Yeah. Let me propose this to y'all and those that are listening as well, if this isn't too controversial for you. They were debating about who has the bigger responsibility to, if a man is, let's say, man or woman, is 20 plus years old, and someone who is 15 or 16 approaches them sexually, who is the child fast, or is the 20-year-old or whatnot the pervert for not turning the child away?
20-year-old's a pervert. That was
my stance.
Agreed.
You know, but there was a big debate about whether, you know, the child is fast. They were like, the child is fast.
Child is fast, okay.
And you know, and it's on it's the responsibility of the adult to turn them away. But a lot of folks, well, not a lot, there were some who focused on the child, you know, and saying that who's this child's parents, that they out here approaching these age people and all this other stuff. And
I agree, like, but at that age, you're an adult and you shouldn't be taking advantage of a child. I mean, at some point, you got to have some type of personal responsibility. Know that the age does matter, and just say, you know what, I'm not.
You ain't smart enough to make them type of decisions, and I'm smart enough not to make them for me and for you.
Yeah,
and
you know?
it's like when they're teenagers, they're still a child.
Big
you know
time.
what? They're still mentally trying to develop their mind. You know, they're in that rebellious age. We were all there. Your parents tell us not to do something. We're going to be like, well, we're going to do it. Like, you know, so it's that, you know, it's the responsibility of the adult to say, you're crossing the line. Let me speak to your parents because this is not okay.
The only exception that I can kind of see to that is if the girl lied about her age and the guy genuinely didn't know the age of the child. Now, I do believe that, because even me at the time, you remember how we were at the time. We were asking. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you saw, like, when I was 20, 21, I was asking, how old are you? And because for me, it just didn't interest me to talk to a younger girl. I was actually interested in older girls at the time. So it didn't interest me to talk to, exactly.
Yeah, I'm saying.
So it didn't interest me to talk to a younger girl, but at the same time, I still knew, if I was riding with somebody, there ain't no high school girls. You know what I'm saying? It just never appealed to me. Cause
something just tells me though, as an adult, and I guess being one for 13 years.
A lot of years.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of years, right? You can tell a child the minute they open their mouth. Right?
Not all the time. I agree. But listen,
she's a mature 16. Nah, she's
19-year-old girls don't talk about nothing.
Listen.
Listen, 19,
I wouldn't mess with 18, a 19.
Okay, I got you. But I'm saying 18-year-old girls and 19-year-old girls sound the same. They're not talking about. They sound like little kids.
And that's how you can know
I'm talking about
a child is a child. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, we weren't interested, right? But it's going to be some guy that's interested in a 19-year-old and an 18-year-old, and those girls are legal, you know. And for the guy that is interested in younger girls, but not illegal girls, you know, I do think that, you know, the thing is, I guess if you do that, you have to take the responsibility of making sure of what the age is, you know what I'm saying, beyond a doubt. So, you know what I'm saying? And the thing is, sometimes 16-year-olds don't have ID. If she's 18 and 19, she definitely have an ID that you can say, hey, let me see your ID just to make sure you're the age you say you are.
I still don't.
You know what she's going to have? A backpack. That wasn't a sign.
I don't even. I don't care.
Homework to do? Like, come on, man. I can't get.
I don't care if she's 18 or 19. Like, I feel like.
She got homework.
I'm saying some guys are going to be attracted to younger girls. Not me, but some guys are going to be attracted to younger girls.
What do they even talk about?
I don't know. But listen, but if the girl is 19, if she's 18, then it's legal and you can't really say anything about that. And listen, for all the sexual perversion things that y'all agree with, don't sit here and then say, oh, okay, the dude can't be attracted to younger girls.
Should it be?
Huh?
Should it be?
What do you mean?
Should the legal age to consent with any other age after that be 18?
Yeah, because when
I know that's a whole different debate.
right? When I was 18, you going to stop me from doing what I was going to do.
But that was with someone older.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
But still, but I'm saying,
Yeah.
listen, if you weren't finna, we was gonna break some rules.
Not me.
If he was 18, if there was a law against dating older girls, if he was 18, you wouldn't have broken no rules.
Dating older?
Yeah,
Well, I just wouldn't have said I got,
exactly. That's what
assaulted
I'm
or
saying.
something. That's different.
That's what I'm saying.
You know what I'm saying?
But okay, can I speak from?
When you was 18, you wanted to be an adult. So if you tell 18-year-olds right now, hey, and y'all ain't legal until you're 21, you gonna ruin it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't know, man. At 18, we was living by ourselves. We were living with each other.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I dated someone when I was 19 in college. I tried to date someone who was 40. It was the stupidest thing in my life. We had nothing to talk about. Your experiences and my experience are two different things. You're from a different time than me. That's why I think it's ridiculous for someone who's older to try to date someone who's younger. It's stupid. It's absolutely stupid.
Listen, you can feel that way, but y'all cannot do that. You know what I'm saying?
We can feel how we want to
Y'all can feel how y'all want to feel, but y'all cannot tell. Listen, if the man could be 50 and the girl could be 18, it's legal, and y'all could frown up about it, but it's that man's legal right. It's all the rights y'all tell me about in this studio here we sitting in. Y'all can't take that right from those people. From those consenting adults.
All I'm saying is I think after 10 years,
I hear you.
there's just not a lot y'all can talk about, you know?
That's a whole nother.
Okay.
You're right. We got a little off track.
We
But I
did.
didn't want to propose that question there. Here's my last one, and we'll close it out. Close it out with this. Well, I guess we actually just talked about this. What crimes do you believe currently have too light or too harsh a punishment?
Oh, theft, murder.
Hold on. Is this too light or too harsh?
Too light.
For theft?
For murder, for any violent crime right now, the punishment is
It's too
way
light.
too light.
Okay.
It's way too light. Nobody's
agree with you.
deterred, and that's why you getting beat in the head. If any of y'all has been robbed at gunpoint, smacked around, you know what I'm saying? All this violence is happening to you.
Oh.
And listen, and black folks want, we truly want our communities police. We don't like all the violence there. We feel as though the cops or justice isn't on our side and that the treatment is unfair. So if the treatment was fair and across the board and y'all would get all these people, out of our communities, listen, if all that crime wasn't out there, we could actually progress. We could actually do more. You know what I'm saying? Black people as a whole. But all that crime is holding us back. It really is. So you get all that stuff out of there, man, and we'd be a lot better off, in my opinion.
I can see that. You got Mr. Boom there with your hand up. What are some crimes that you believe have too light or harsh of a sentence?
As far as too light, I feel like calling the cops on somebody just because you think they're not supposed to be there, or sitting outside or something, like you being nosy and not minding your business, and you think that this person is supposed to be at this tennis court or something. Anything stupid that you call the cops for, I feel like should be treated like aggravated assault or attempted murder, just because you don't really know what the outcome is going to be when the cops get there. People can lose their lives. So if you're just calling the cops with no legit reason, your life is not in danger, then it should be treated like a crime or, attempted murder.
Man, hey, that's serious right there. I personally, I get the sentiment, right? It's just that I feel like if that becomes a thing, what's going to happen is people are going to be afraid to call.
Right.
And people will mind their business more than they mind it now. Right now, you can walk outside with tissue on your face. that you had on a pimple and no one will say shit to you. You can walk outside dressed as, my Dave Chappelle voice. You can walk outside as a guy dressed as a woman with a full beard and get an attitude with somebody for saying, hey, how do I address you? You know what I'm saying? Like, people already are in their own business and they don't want to be, like participating with law enforcement or anything like that, and they don't want any trouble. You tell them that calling the police, if you're not sure, forces people to be a detective, and then at that point, no one calls.
Yeah, I mean, it seems a little extreme to me,
But I understand what he's saying. He's not saying that. I'm just saying it can lead to that.
No, it definitely. Well, listen.
What he's saying is, if you see a group of black kids at a pool and you don't like that they're being rowdy, and you call the cops and say, I think a drug deal is going on, and SWAT team comes out and hits these kids with rubber bullets, that's what he's talking about. I
agree.
Completely understand what he's talking about. I just feel like if they made that a law, right, to where you had to be sure you suffered some type of consequences, I just feel like there'd be some people who
would call.
Who never would call. They could hear you getting your ass beat.
A lot of people would
never
never
be
call.
like, I thought that their TV was just up. They already like that now. I just feel like it would go to the oomph level to where you could witness a murder.
You could,
and be
people
like,
could be chasing you. So y'all call the cops. Hell no.
Hell no, because they find out they just playing, and you know what I'm saying? I'm going to go to jail. It could just lead down that way.
Oh, we have a hand up. Shy the Barber.
Oh, Shy the Barber, you got it, man.
I feel like it's not severe enough of a punishment for child predators. And one thing that I feel like there should be some kind of legal ramifications for, like federal charges, is for men who can prove that a woman falsely put them on child support, or they're finessing the child support system to trump up all these expenses on men.
Boy, you better talk that shit. Listen, that coincides with what Boom said, and basically his emphasis, what I'm getting from it, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Boom, but it's like filing false reports.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I feel like the time when you file a false sexual assault or R-word allegation, I feel like if it's proven that it was false and intentionally false, you should do the time that the person would have got for that crime.
All right, listen, I'm with that.
Not the fine. No. I don't want fine too. Add the fine. But no, you don't get to buy your way out of this. You was gonna give me 5-10 years of my life gone. Mm-hmm. Now you get 5-10 years of yours.
So you have to prove that it was malicious intent.
Malicious intent. Okay. So if you can find some messages that say, and I'm gonna send you to jail, talking, I'm gonna tell him you R-worded me. You see what I'm saying? And you know what? And it's proven that you never did it, and you got that message. Listen, I want that person to do the 5-10.
It's gonna be an epidemic of women. Downtrodden and beat down by that law, because they're going to jail.
Why you say
now.
that?
That's going to be a whole lot of them.
Oh, you think it happens a whole lot?
Well, I think women set themselves up because they're so dramatic. They're going to type all that stuff.
Don't let me call Olivia Benson in here and have from SVU and hit you with the speech. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? This is why they don't report crimes now, because you're trying to say that they all liars.
Well, listen, because they so dramatic. They put all that stuff in the text message. I'm gonna do this to you, and I'm gonna do that to you. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you can't listen. Listen, I guess you got to tell them don't put no. And I'm gonna say you're hard to me, because after that you come and do it. And I got the message to prove you said it was.
Listen,
prove it was a setup the whole time.
Don't put any ideas in someone else's mind.
I was just sitting here saying, man, women will mess themselves up like that, because, listen, it ain't the males that's putting all that, and I'm gonna tell them, they ain't doing all that, So that's usually the dramatic woman trying to get attention and a response out of you.
Got you. Well, it'll get them some jail time if it's proven, false. That's something
a lot according to you, a whole lot.
Hey, Shy Y'all ought
to just take my laws, man. Get your little top of the little pinky, get a little chop
for
going
stealing.
about your business. You know what I'm saying?
Shy missed that, man. Shy at Barbara earlier since you wasn't here. We was talking about if you were president, laws that you would try to get implemented to deter crime. And one of Razman's was, hey, take the tip of the pinky for stealing anything up to $500. Second time, take the pinky. Third time, take the hand.
Take the hand.
And that'll deter a whole lot of theft.
It's over $1,000. Take the hand.
I bet you I got one for you that'll deter a whole lot of everything.
I'm with it.
If you take the system away and make people and their crimes punishable by the judgment of their peers wholly, allow other people to hand down your sentence, because people are going to be a whole lot less forgiving than the legal system.
Let me ask you a question.
You can't buy off a whole jury. They don't give a fuck how much money you got.
Yeah, but then it would have to only be your race, and then the other thing is like your popularity would come into the place. I think that would lead to unfair.
And that's what I'm saying. And not your race, not your popularity. None of that shit matter about nothing. I'm talking about just a collective of people. Matter of fact, let the internet vote on your shit.
Ooh. Listen.
If the internet voted, we all be out.
Listen,
we all be out. Listen, we don't watch our mouths. Listen, Raz, man, wouldn't say nothing no more.
Listen,
I just want to go along and get along, boss.
Listen, I've always not liked the mob mentality when it comes to like, hey, if you're going to say something about this dude, let's all do it. But I do like this mob mentality.
That's cancel culture.
But I do like this mob mentality as far as crime is concerned. If you're going to let the whole world judge the situation, let them all look at the facts, right?
Yeah.
Vote thumbs up or down. You know what I'm saying? On what on your innocence?
Yeah.
Hey,
I'm gonna tell you,
I'm for it.
I'm gonna tell you, if you black,
I like Shada Barber's sister.
But if you black, you got listen, you got 25% of white folks just going thumbs down you off the rip, no matter what was going on.
Okay. Potentially. But listen, if we go back to here's what happens. You know how, on certain news stations,
yeah, go ahead.
When it's an African American person who's projected for this crime or a suspect, they post a picture of him with his pants hanging down,
the worst one,
hat cocked to the side and stuff like that. Now, if it's open to the whole world, right, and we can see your social media, we can see your finances, we can see everything that the legal system would see. You know what I'm saying? We can see you as the complete individual, right? I think you would get a lot better cases. But also those folks who say, hey, my son ain't never done nothing wrong before he shot 3 people, them dudes would go down.
I see it both ways.
They would just go down.
You would have a clean-cut white boy or prissy white girl that's always cute and cuddly, you know what I'm saying? And she's a murderer.
Until the 3 chicks that he screwed over or cheated on get on there and say, he did it to me too. Take him down. Like your whole life would be on display. It would be rough.
No, I think it would be rough. I think it would be interesting. I also think it would be the mob mentality in the cancel culture that you guys don't like now, because it would more so be however we're all feeling, today. However we're all feeling tomorrow. Because
only if what it would do is exactly what it's doing in this conversation right now. It would deter you to stay the fuck out the way. You stay out of the way.
You wouldn't do nothing.
You damn right.
You wouldn't do nothing.
And guess what? You wouldn't be taking nothing. You wouldn't be out here. Hold on. Folks wouldn't be out here commenting on people's pictures. It wouldn't be a lot of trolling. It wouldn't be a whole lot of foolishness, because if you're going to be on public blast, display with your real name and take the anonymity out.
When the world doesn't like you,
stuff.
like when the world doesn't like you, because people's opinions sway so easy. Because last week, that one guy was a genius.
Guess who be
This
rich?
week, they don't like him. Next week, they're going to be with him again,
Influencers would be the most. Listen, I'd get my follower count up so high and tell them, listen, you say you didn't do it, right? Slide $1 million over, and I'll tell my followers that they should feel the same way. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
And then
we'd be the lawyers. We'd be the rich folks now.
Right. There's certain people that
with it.
Certain people that are well liked amongst a lot of people would be able to get away with all kinds of crimes because the world wouldn't sway against them.
It depends.
I don't believe that though, because like Artista said, once everything you do on the internet, everything that someone captures on their phone and places on the internet of you, that shit is due, and what do you call it? Perpetuity. That shit is forever. It'll never go away.
Yes, sir.
And when everybody can see it, everybody can make their own judgment. You'll be surprised how many people may like you, but can be convinced not to like you based on somebody else's interpretation of who you may be that they never thought you were.
Talk your shit.
Listen, I agree with that.
It's deep.
I just also have seen people. I do not trust large portions of people in their opinions because I know that it's based on BS. I know it is because
that's if you consider emotion BS, right? And it's like and I'm gonna use a person's name that I know you get emotional about recently. Kanye, right? He went on, these interviews and said a whole bunch of stuff about people. He was demolished, right? Everyone was done with him.
They still rock.
And now, because he's being canceled by corporations, all of a sudden, the same people he took a doo-doo on, right, with some of his comments and stuff like that, are now behind his back because they feel like the punishment does not fit the crime. They feel like it's excessive for him to be removed from the Forbes billionaire list, from Adidas and Gap and everybody else to cancel him. Now they feel like he's a victim. But just last week, it was pitchforks. You see what I'm saying? So I get what you're saying. And you only get this one trial to do it in. This is why I'm saying I agree with Shy's system, but the trial shouldn't be like 2 weeks after something is found out. Give this person 6 months to present all the facts and all the case and all the emotion to die down from the first wave of kill him, and then the next wave of, man, that ain't right, man. All he did was just a little, you did a little something. Let the emotion subside, and then we can get to the facts. But I like that. Public court, everyone take a vote.
Listen, you guys, a lot of people are not going to agree with this, but there was a story once, right? It was a guy that had not done anything, never done anything wrong. Then there was another guy that was a thief, and everybody knew he was a thief. And they held a public
Jesus and Barnabas.
Yes.
Yeah, I know you're going.
They held a public forum. They asked which one should be condemned and which one should be released. The thief got released. The guy that never done anything, he got condemned. What it was going on was it was public perception. The
scribes and the Pharisees.
I wasn't trying to say. I wasn't trying to go that far. But they had went and convinced the people to be against this other guy.
But see, and I know I'm wrong for what I said, but I'm right in the fact that this is what I would do.
Oh yeah.
I would become one of the. I'd become an influencer, and be like, hey, I can swing this thing your way. I know you're innocent. Give me something.
But one has nothing to do with the other. You're talking about perception.
I'm talking.
Perception is reality.
I'm talking. Perception is reality. In the case of the mob mentality, perception is reality. That's why no matter what happens with old KOON, whatever happens with him, I don't trust the public with it because they'll never really rightly.
It was pitchforks last week, and now it's we stand with Kanye.
And for
it
me,
changed in 7
and for
days.
me, it's still white lives matter. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't all for it. And ain't coming off.
That's why I love it, because people like you would just stay the fuck out the way. You just wouldn't want to get caught in the system, so it'll be doing exactly what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
Hey, listen. In my system, you wouldn't have to worry about who will like it and who don't. You know what I'm saying? I just want the facts, baby. You know what I'm saying? And listen, the fact is, you know what I'm saying? If you messing up out here, it's gonna cost you. It's gonna cost you a whole lot.
The tip of your pinky.
And it's gonna hurt. and if you do it again, it's gonna get worse. And you keep doing it, you ain't gonna be able to do nothing again.
But listen, I love these.
Get you out of here, man.
Is anybody else on the line want to?
And we ain't playing.
Want to add to this as far as sentences you feel like are too light or too harsh, or something you would do as president to deter crime before we close it out?
If ain't nobody else got nothing to say, I would like to add something to my
Oh,
punishment.
mercy.
After we take the tip of the pinky, you turn around and get smacked in the back of your head for acting stupid out here. Then get on. That'd be the last. Then get on.
It don't drop no blood anyway. I hear you. I hear you. Listen, y'all. It has been an amazing show. Shout out to everyone who came through to listen. Of course, J.O., Queen Angel. We didn't get to hear from you, but I'm glad you was here listening with us. Shout out to Like a Bug for being in the studio, and of course, Raz Band for joining us here. Shout out to Barbara for giving us that amazing take. I really appreciate you, bro. Mr. Boone for calling in to our amazing producer virtually. We appreciate you. Shout out to Your Good Karma wherever you are. Relaxing and vacationing, we all wish we were you. You know what? We can't be. We got to be here, and we miss you, and we can't wait till you get back. Listen, it's been a great night. Thanks to everyone.
And make sure you join us Thursday at 7:30 p.m. for our live show. Remember, we're a podcast, so make sure you join us on Thursday, 7:30 on Podbean and TikTok. Come join us.
TikTok Live. We'll be there Thursday night, 7:30 p.m. CPT time.
CPT time.
You know what?
We're live again next week at 7 p.m. CPT time.
Go now.